To introduce our next inductee, please welcome Athletic Director of Capilano University, Milt Williams.
Thanks, Vince. This evening, I'm most honored to introduce Joe Acabellis as a coach inductee to the CCA Hall of Fame. Joe was also an outstanding athletic director as well as an outstanding coach for our university, college at that time, but 2008 turned into a university. The numerous championship banners that grace the walls of Capilano University Sportsplex are a tribute to Joe's 39-year career in which he turned the Blues into a power to be reckoned with across BC and at the national level. In his first 15 years, beginning in 1977, at what was then Capilano College, he coached 9 men's soccer teams and 2 women's volleyball teams to gold medals in the BCCA at that time, now the Pac West. He won 11 provincial titles during those 15 years. He also won 3 national championships and 2 silver medals. He was named to the as BCCA Men's Soccer Coach of the Year twice and a CCA Coach of the Year once in 1991. Former players used to talk about Joe all the time, and the one thing that I always heard about Joe was that he was really cool on the sidelines. He didn't lose his temper very often, and he had a very subtle way of telling guys they were doing it the wrong way without yelling at them. At least that's what I saw. For example, in 1990, at the National Championships held in Granby, Quebec, the Blues were somehow booked at a 9 a.m. game on the first day of the tournament, arriving at 11 p.m. that evening, the evening before. Not surprisingly, the Blues fell behind in a must-win game, which began at what felt to them like a 6 a.m. start, for a team still on BC time. They were down 3-0 at the halftime. So Joe took the guys into the team room, and all their heads were down, and inwardly Joe was unhappy. Outwardly, the boys were very unhappy. But he just calmly said to the guys, you know what, if they can score 3 goals in the first half, we can score 4 in the second. Well, lo and behold, they walked out on the field and they scored and they scored and they scored and they scored, and they won 5-3 to take their second national championship. That coolness led to many more titles for Joe, and those wins helped the Blues claim the National Soccer Supremacy Award as the best team in the first 25 years of CCA soccer play. Capilano actually took home the honor in men's and women's soccer with the help of coaches Frank Pupp and Doug Abercrombie guiding the women's soccer program. But it was Joe that created a tremendous soccer program at Capilano University. An example of how great a coach Joe was is when he retired from coaching in 1993. He came out of retirement in 2001 because he was to rebuild a soccer team that was not doing very well. They were very mediocre. And so Joe felt at that time that he could turn this program around again. So he steps into the coaching ranks again in 2001. They just barely made the playoffs and they got knocked out. 2002, he recruits a whole new crew of students, and lo and behold, he gets to the championship, the provincial championship, and he loses by one goal. For that accomplishment, Joe was chosen BCCA Coach of the Year for his excellence in coaching. So to me, that shows you what kind of coach he was. He was an excellent recruiter, and he could put his money where his mouth was and turn a program into a winning program with hard work and dedication. Many athletes have so much to thank Joe for. To Joe, winning was definitely important, but graduating was even more important. That was Joe's main emphasis, academic performance on the field and winning second. For me, Joe was a mentor, a friend. He was sorely missed when he left the BCCA at that time. And he has many colleagues that constantly talk about Joe and wondering how things are going with him, and he is sorely missed. And Joe, congratulations, the induction to the CCA Hall of Fame.
Good evening, everyone. Boy, am I glad I'm not following Teresa. You know, it's wonderful to see so many familiar faces that have been in my life for many, many years. And I'm so honored, actually, to be here tonight and to be invited into the CCAA Hall of Fame. I'm going to read this a little bit. You know what? I need my glasses. Sorry. I forgot about that. I don't know what happened to me over the years. I'm truly honored. I'd like to thank Milt Williams for nominating not only myself, but Doug and Melissa. Well-earned awards. And I'd like to congratulate all of the other inductees who have worked so very hard to be here tonight. I'm honored to be in this special family that I call the CCAA. I've met so many wonderful people here. I remember the first time I met June Lumsden at a national volleyball tournament. She was so kind to me, and that was my first time at a national championship, a rookie coach, and I thought, boy, these are really nice people. And I think you all continue to be very nice people. I'd also like to thank my wife. I've been in this business now for almost 40 years, and I couldn't have asked for a better person to be married to, because she was so patient with me, so supportive. All those weekends that I spent away from home, all those evenings of volleyball practices, all those weeks of working with provincial teams or national teams, it took a lot to hold our marriage together, and I have to thank her for that. So Laura, the beautiful red over there, is my wife. You know, I never thought that coaching and athletics was going to be my career. I actually was going to be a teacher and do some research. That was the plan. I was in exercise physiology. But I took a fourth-year course in volleyball coaching at UBC. And the instructor was Vale Savage, who played for the national team. And as it was, and that was in the fall of 1974, I believe. 73 or 74, I can't remember. So it would be the fall of 73, sorry. No, the fall of 74. Anyways, she found out that there was a job opportunity at Langara to coach the women's volleyball team, and she recommended me to Dunk McCallum, and so I have to now thank Dunk for hiring me and actually getting me started in coaching, because I actually had no idea I was actually ever going to be coaching anybody. So in 1974, I took that job. It was a volunteer job, by the way. He never paid me. But I don't mind. And the following year, for whatever reason, I was in Europe with three of my buddies. We'd spent so I had graduated by then. We spent 4 months in Europe. And I got a call in Belgium. I was over at my aunt's place in Brussels. And the athletic director from UBC called me and said, "Are you interested in being a graduate student and coaching the women's varsity volleyball team at UBC?" I was confounded. I was so shocked. But I took the job because actually I needed the money. And so I took the job, and it was definitely a place where I learned how to coach. At one point, I never thought actually that I would continue coaching, because I realized that coaching was a very complex job. I realized very early in my coaching career that coaching wasn't just about preparing practices and doing drills for skills and strategy and technical aspects of the game. But more importantly, at that level, it was about being a mentor and being a teacher, being a psychologist, an advisor, and in some ways, being a parent. I remember a particular situation. I was, 23 or 24 years old, coaching the UBC team. And a young woman came to me on my team and started to cry because her boyfriend had left her. And I was 23 years old, and I thought, what am I doing here? I didn't sign up for this kind of work. And I thought, I've got to be really careful what I say here, because I could do some damage. And so it was those kinds of situations that made me realize how important coaching was. And I found this challenge, actually, what attracted me to coaching. It wasn't simply about winning. It wasn't simply about, yeah, it's great to win and all that, but it was definitely challenging to try to mold young minds, to try to help young people become good citizens. It's going to be short. But as I reflect back now, all these years of coaching, I find that the satisfaction that I received from coaching wasn't only about succeeding off the court. As important, and if not more so, it was about the opportunity to build relationships and friendships. There's situations that I encounter every day, every week, sometimes in my community, where I meet up with kids that, well, they're not kids anymore, but people that used to play for me. And what I get the satisfaction from is when I get that warm handshake or that embrace. The girls will embrace, the guys will give me a handshake. And it means the world to me, because it tells me that I've done something good. I've provided them with opportunities that they appreciated. I've been a good mentor to them. And to me, that is the most important aspect of coaching. I'd like to thank the CCA for their outstanding work in servicing and supporting and promoting college sport and providing opportunities for our college athletes. I think it's vitally important that you continue this good work, that you work hard together, that you work with the government to get more money for college sport, because it is important. For me personally, it's been an exciting career, and I'd like to end as Frank Sinatra once ended by saying, it was been a real trip. Thank you.